This is the X5, a 360 camera from Insta360, a camera you love or hate. I've been using 360 cameras for years, and it's been a huge part of how I capture my videos, especially my travel videos. With a single press of a button, I can capture 360 degrees of video, forward, backwards, up, down, left to right, or spin around as many times as I want. Only possible with a 360 camera. But the biggest debate when it comes to a 360 camera is obviously image quality. Some say the image looks really bad, some say it looks good, and some don't really mind as long as it fulfills the needs. Personally, I think it looks outstanding. When I sit down and watch this on my 65-inch TV, my 42-inch TV, it looks amazing. Even on my phone, it looks amazing. When I watch it on my LG 39-inch nano IPS monitor, which I'm using for editing, the image looks slightly worse because it's not a 4K monitor. So if you're looking at the 360 videos I've captured with the X5 and think it looks really bad, it might be time to upgrade your device, or at least try to set the playback resolution to 4K, or try to just watch it on your phone because it looks good. It actually looks good. When it comes to the image quality itself though, it's processed through a 5nm AI chip and 2 Pro imaging chips, but this is just black and white for most people and not the reason you might end up buying a camera like the X5. It all comes down to performance, stability, user experience, and of course features. So let me show you a sequence I put together on how I've been using the X5 now over the past 6 months. And rather pay attention to the shots I've been able to capture with this camera rather than how this compares to a camera like the Ace Pro 2, which obviously has much better image quality because it's a straightforward regular action camera. And of course, for the best experience, I would suggest watching the video on a proper 4K monitor, a TV, or even your phone. Just make sure to set the playback resolution to 4K. Let's have a look. So if you didn't pay too much attention to the image quality, but the video I was able to capture with this camera, and you enjoyed it, then a 360 camera might be something to look into if you don't already own one. The X5 is, in my opinion, the best 360 camera on the market, and something I can highly recommend if you're looking for your first 360 camera, which is easy to use as well as offering the best overall editing experience on both desktop and mobile. Another thing is that the X5 is also packed with features. Some features you might never use, some feature which will make it easier to capture a few certain different types of videos, and some feature which I consider a must-have. But in all honesty, pressing the record button is basically everything you need. But we do have a few features which I personally find extremely useful. The first one is Instaframe. This allows me to capture and track myself without having to do anything in post later. I basically get a ready to go MP4 file which I can upload to social media. And it basically works in the same way as if you were using a smartphone on a mobile gimbal, but better and smoother and more versatile. So because the files are saved as MP4 files, it means I can just take this from the SD card, drag it over to my computer, and then upload it straight to social media, or I can pull it from the mobile app over to my smartphone and then upload from there. But the good thing is that it also saves a 360 file, which I can later edit to look completely different from the first video. And if you're all new to a 360 camera, this is by far the best feature to start with. And not only will every video you capture look good, but you have the option to practice 360 editing without feeling like your shots are useless because you find the editing to be quite difficult. Another feature which I've found quite useful is not a must-have, but it's there to make things a little bit more convenient. The feature I'm talking about is the twist to shoot, where you twist the camera from one side to the other 2 times and the camera will automatically start recording, and to stop the recording you do the exact same thing. And this is really useful if you don't want to spend extra money on a remote, for example, or let's say you're out on a walk but you don't feel like using voice command to start and stop recording. Maybe you want to keep it subtle to a certain degree, then this is a really nice feature to have, as you just twist the camera and it will automatically start recording. And let's say you're adding some fake drone shots, for example. You put this camera on the 3-meter extension pole from Insta360. You have it 3 meters up in the air. Instead of connecting it to your phone and then press start record and stop record, or use a dedicated remote to do so, you can simply just twist the extension pole and it will automatically start recording, and you can capture some amazing videos like this. But like I said, not a must-have feature, but it's really nice to have. The other feature I think is well worth having if you record a lot of 360 videos like I am doing is the Insta360 Cloud Plus. It might be the most overlooked and underrated feature that Insta360 offers, but it's basically the same style that GoPro has been working with for years now. And this is a really nice way to keep your files secured and backed up. Like if you lose your SD card, you won't be able to recover those videos because you lost your SD card, or maybe you don't want to end up with a billion SD cards like me, then this cloud service is really good to have. And once the files are uploaded, you can swipe them from the SD card and you can go out and record more videos, and when you get back home, you can just download all the raw files from the cloud as well. And on top of that, you can also share a link to the raw 360 video to one of your friends at home, for example, so they can experience what you just recorded, but in 360. Though this comes at a cost though. It's not a free service, neither is it with GoPro, but I still recommend testing it out. Maybe start with the cheapest option, and then if you find it really useful, then you can upgrade as you need if you need more storage. But something that it's well worth testing in my opinion if you record a lot of videos with your 360 camera. Now, when it comes to accessories, I would say this is half the job if you try to be somewhat creative with your X5 as well. Most people just probably use a selfie stick like me, but for those times you want to capture something different, it might be helpful to have a few accessories. In my previous accessory video, I listed my personal favorites as well as the accessories I saw no reason to buy, but this is all personal preferences, and at the end it comes down to what each of us needs and what we find useful. But what I've been using over the last 6 months to capture all my videos is the 3-meter extension pole, the moto clamp, which is the best clamp I've ever used. Highly recommend this. This is such a versatile moto clamp. I've also been using the carbon fiber action stick, selfie stick, and the quick release mounts that I have from my Ace Pro 2. a 256 and 512 gigabyte micro SD card from either SanDisk or Insta360. I've been using the ND filter set. I've been using the live preview GPS and mic remote, but I've only been using the preview screen here and not the microphone because I'm using the X5 with the Insta360 mic air for audio. And for the very first time, I had to use the replacement kit to replace the lens on my X5. My hands were full and trying to navigate the menu, it slipped out of my hands and it hit the ground. I never thought this would ever happen, but it just shows that it can happen to the best of us, even though we take really good care of our cameras. But thankfully, the X5 do have those replaceable lenses, so it was a quick fix without having to send it back and wait for a week to get a replacement unit. So thank you again, Insta360, for making this camera with replaceable lenses. I know GoPro have it as well. It's not in stock here, so I haven't been able to get my hands on the GoPro Max 2, but I will definitely do that in the future and do my own personal review versus the X5 here. Now, a reason to get a 360 camera though is obviously the 360 capture and the versatility. And if we include all the things I've talked about already with the X5 is as premium as it gets. With replaceable lens kits, lots of features, amazing video quality, the most up-to-date editing app on both desktop and mobile, and there's also a bunch of Insta360 and third-party accessories which will make it easier to capture different angles, like creating motor rides, drone shots, and not to mention POV shots, which I'm a huge fan of with this camera for some reason. POV, it's quite big though, but you know, I really like to use it as POV. So for POV shots, I basically use the Insta360 mouth mount, but any mount would do really. I also have the one from GoPro, which works just as good, but I really like how wide this shot is. And the advantage here is that I also have rock solid stabilization, unlike a regular action camera, which would be way more narrower if I want the most stable shot, as it has to crop down because I need to use the 360 horizon lock. But I gotta say, it is a bit heavy to use as a POV mount cam, and it is a bit long when I have it mounted downwards, but using a vertical 3D printed bracket here, I can have it sideways instead, which is way more comfortable. But POV shots with the X5 is definitely worth trying. And if you don't want to use a mouthpiece, you can also use these neck straps or even a chest strap, which works just in the same way. But I like to have, for some reason, I like to use the mouthpiece because it gives me a higher angle and it shows my arms rather than having it on my chest, and my arms will come in from the side here. I don't like that look, so that's why I use and prefer to use a mouthpiece. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you tried this with as a POV camera? Do you use 360 mode or do you use single lens mode? Let me know in the comments below. Now, I've been using the X5 for quite some time now, and I'm still impressed when it comes to battery performance. I don't know about you, but I'm getting everything that I need from this camera. I get way over an hour in 8K 30 FPS, which is way more than I need. I usually record maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes at a time, stop record, and then I have a file that I can edit later, and it also makes the editing process easier, unless I'm riding a motorcycle, which the record would probably be over an hour and I have to go through everything, basically using it as a dash cam on my motorcycle. But what I've been using lately is the Ultra battery. This is the orange one that looks something like this. This is the Ultra battery, and this is a great improvement over the original one. It's not like a massive 1 hour longer record time, but in real life use, the differences are quite noticeable. But the X5 does also have fast charging, so if I should forget a battery, if the battery should get close to running out, it will only take about 15 minutes of charge before I can head out and continue my shoot. So I'm really happy with the battery performance here. The only thing I wish is that the batteries from my X4 was compatible with the X5 as well. And I hope that Insta360 can fix this in the future and maybe make one battery type like DJI compatible with all future cameras, but I have a feeling they're working on something. They just need to get it right. That's what I think. As for audio, this is also an important part for a lot of people buying a camera. They want crystal clear audio, and so do I. The X5 just hits different in certain environments. Like this forest walk here I did a few months ago. Just listen to all the ambient bird sounds it picks up and how clear it sounds compared to some of the other cameras. Now, when it comes to the actual differences in terms of user experience and using these three cameras, the three of them has a touch screen on the front. So the Ace Pro 2 has a flip screen. I can just flip up and I can touch it and change the settings and all of that, see how long I've been recording for, and basically everything I need. Same thing goes for the Action 5 Pro, and the same thing goes for the X5. Because it records 360 videos, it doesn't really matter which way I mount the camera, so I can now see the screen and see the settings, see how long I've been recording for, and all of that convenient stuff, you know. But with the GoPro, I can't even touch the screen to see how long I've been recording for. So not only does it sound amazing with the internal mics for shots like these, but it also sounds amazing when it's paired up with the Insta360 Mic Air. So there you have my roundup of my long-term use and experience with the X5 here. Is it a camera I recommend? Definitely. If there's one 360 camera worth getting, considering everything that this has, including how easy it is to edit these videos, whether I want to keep it simple or spice it up, the X5 is probably the easiest camera to recommend. But I do want to hear your thoughts. If you already have the X5, what is your long-term experience? What's your pros and cons? What's the biggest pros and cons with this camera for you? Links to everything will be down in the description, and on your way down there, make sure to subscribe, comment, and drop a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you found it useful, your pros and cons, let me know in the comments below. So until next time, take care, bye bye.